folks, Bluesboyjag here with yet another 4-string cigar box guitar lesson. It's another R.L. Burnside style lick. I've been getting a whole bunch of people asking about R.L. Burnside style licks, and I really like doing these licks. It's just that sometimes when I come up with a lick, I change it, and then I change it again, and I change it again, and half an hour later, I don't have a lick because I'm too picky about the lick. You don't really need to be picky when you're doing some boogie blues. It's pretty straightforward. So here's what I have here. It's an interesting tuning here. E, B, E, B. So that is a 5th tuning, which means you have the E and the B is a 5th up, another E, and another B. So there's no major third in it. It's just 2 notes, E, B, E, B. So what I'm going to be doing here is sliding up and moving down to the 2nd string. You know how R.L. Burnside slides up when he does a lot of these licks. He does a 2-fret slide up, and he pauses for a split second sometimes. For instance, that little pause. So I'm using my 1st finger on the 1st string, and I'm on the 3rd fret, and I'm sliding up, but I'm pausing before I slide up, and I slide up 2 frets to the 5th fret. So I'm just moving my 1st finger from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret on the 1st string. The trick here is you want to choke. So I'm choking with my fretting hand, and I'm doing an upstrum because I don't want to hear the bass strings because they're going to be louder than the 1st string. I like to have that 1st string louder than the other one, so I do an upstroke. So when you slide up, I'm muting after I slide up from 3 to 5. And by the way, I'm strumming all the strings. I'm just emphasizing that 1st string. Then I do a pull off, and I'm on the 2nd string, but I'm strumming all the strings. So what I'm doing is 1 strum, doing an up strum from the 1st string to the 2nd to the 3rd. I might be hitting the 4th every now and then, doesn't really matter. So the 2nd part of the riff is so I'm doing an up strum on the top 2 strings, and my 1st finger is going to the 2nd string, 5th fret, and I'm pulling off. And I'm immediately pulling, after I pull off, I'm immediately going to that 3rd fret on that 2nd string. So the first half, notice how I'm pausing a split second before I slide up. And then I'm immediately choking, and then I'm doing another strum and choking again. Real slow. Now, as far as that 2nd part, you can use either your 1st finger or your 3rd finger and your 1st finger. So if I use my 1st finger on that lick, that's how it looks. I'm not sure why I use my 1st finger. It doesn't make a lot of sense to use your 1st finger, although it works just fine. If I'm already there at that fret where my finger is on the 5th fret, I can just use my 3rd finger. So here's the 3rd finger pull off. Also, don't forget the chokes. It doesn't really matter, actually, you know, how you do it, whatever makes it work, as long as you stay on the beat and you don't speed up. You can do it any way you want to. You can use your third finger here and your first finger here, or your first finger on both. Sometimes you have slightly different nuances of how you do that. You'll kind of get into this later as you progress and play more of these types of licks. You'll see that these tiny little changes where you use maybe your first finger up here instead of your third finger here, it gives you different opportunities for other licks. And it's slightly different, even though it might sound exactly the same. So mix it up as much as you want. R.L. Burnside was very, let's just say, loose, because he was imbibing, shall I say, when he recorded and when he was playing live. So a lot of the recordings that you might see of his live shows, he was a little bit intoxicated, because that's how he was for most of his life when he played music. So he wasn't really thinking, I have to do it this way and then this way, and I have to jump over to this fret right then at that time, blah, blah, blah. He moved to the next chord when he wanted to. R.L. boogied, and R.L. changed chords and, you know, moved his fingers the way R.L. wanted to, when R.L. wanted to. And if he didn't want to, he'd stick there and do that riff over and over and over for 3 minutes solid, exactly the same over and over. Okay, a couple more things. There's a lot of choking here. Notice how these fingers are kind of flopping around. That's because I'm choking. There's one more choke here. Right there. So there's no rules. Again, do it however you like. Choke when you want. Don't choke at all. It doesn't matter. You're coming up with your own ideas, and that's good. So you don't have to do it exactly like RL did, and you don't have to do it exactly like you did. Unless you're covering an RL song, I try to get the gist of the riffs exactly the same, if I can. But he changed it up so much, it's kind of difficult to do that. So one thing that's real important is this hand choking, which I've gone over trillions and trillions and trillions of times on this channel. It's tricky at first, but once you get it, boy, you'll know it immediately, and you'll get a big grin on your face, because it really is fun and it feels cool to be doing these funky licks. To me, that's the beauty of the Hill Country Blues, is that funky style. So I'm going to do a little 1 or 2 minute just improv here, and I'm going to move the camera up a little bit closer so you can see some of the stuff I'll be doing. I'll be mixing it up and kind of experimenting, I guess you'd say. So make it your own, have fun with it, experiment with it, improvise, improvise, improvise. That's the fun part of playing R.L. Burnside stuff. Check out my website, bluesboyjag.com. Cigar box guitars just like this for 21 years. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.